A mysterious figure walks through a foggy yard. He approaches a dimly lit, secluded area. Elsewhere, a woman hurries down a glass corridor. Ancient secrets are hidden behind these wooden plaques. The journey to uncover the truth begins now. She descends further into the underground facility. Trapped inside, she waits for the next floor. Anxiety builds up as the elevator slowly descends. She prepares herself for whatever lies ahead. She finally escapes into the dark, empty streets. But someone is already trailing close behind her. She hides among the towering shipping containers. A heavy machine suddenly blocks her only path. Eventually captured, she finds herself behind cold bars. Secures her restraints without a word. Left alone, she must plan her next move. Meanwhile, a mysterious assassin prepares for a hit. A tactical team breaches the shadowy compound stealthily. They descend deep into the enemy's hidden lair. Every corner could hold a deadly surprise ambush. A sudden firefight erupts in the narrow hallway. The aftermath leaves the locker room eerily quiet. No one is left behind in the facility. Despair pushes one man over the breaking point. Another faces execution at the hands of enemies. A sense of hopelessness infects everyone involved here. The chaotic city below hides even darker secrets. A deadly weapon is drawn from the shadows. Heavily armed guards hold down the main corridor. A fierce warrior gears up for a showdown. He calmly assesses the threats in the club. A brutal sword fight breaks out instantly here. She narrowly evades a fatal, lightning-fast strike. Rogue hacker infiltrates the secure mainframe system. She quickly downloads the highly classified data files. Her unauthorized access triggers the silent security alarms. Vision transports her to another realm. Then, everything suddenly fades into complete, utter darkness. Reality, the busy streets offer cover. Masked robbers terrorize innocent hostages inside a bank. As criminals demand complete compliance from everyone. Load stolen gold bars into the getaway van. The thieves escape as cash flies into the wind. They speed through quiet countryside to avoid detection. They burn the evidence to cover their tracks. First responders rush into the blazing, smoke-filled building, to contain the rapidly spreading inferno. Outside, crews battle to save the burning structure. The massive flames threaten to consume everything nearby. An aerial view reveals the devastating extent of the fire. Tragic casualty is uncovered from the wreckage. A lone car travels across a frozen wasteland. The journey continues toward a secluded, icy destination. Industrial towers loom over the bleak winter landscape. A solitary figure marches bravely into the blizzard. A hidden sniper locks onto his unsuspecting target. Abandoned train cars sit silently in the rail yard. Down below, a subway train pulls into the station. Heavy rain pelts the dark, unforgiving ocean waters. A terrible storm begins brewing over the sea. The downpour intensifies, obscuring the horizon completely. At the surface, a tiny fish swims alone. A massive predator silently stalks its next prey. The deadly beast circles ominously in the deep. Above water, a sailor readies his sturdy vessel. He secures the rigging for a rough voyage. Taking the helm, he steers into the unknown. A heavily armed warship patrols the dark harbor. Suddenly, fierce lightning tears across the stormy sky. The severe storm knocks out power in the suburbs. Driving through the tempest becomes incredibly dangerous. Visibility drops as the torrential rain pounds down. Inside a hidden bunker, systems are finally activated. Div waits anxiously for the final command. A quarantine zone is established in the empty streets. Once vibrant city is now a ghost town. A lone survivor surveys the desolate, ruined landscape. Nature has reclaimed the abandoned, crumbling metropolis completely. It's the very end of the line. Reality itself begins to warp and distort strangely. Only ruins remain after the catastrophic global event. Watches his past go up in violent flames. Everything he ever loved is now reduced to ashes. Seeking an escape route, he reaches the barricaded harbor. He reminds himself to just keep breathing calmly. A scavenger searches the dark building for useful supplies, pushes deeper into the dangerous, abandoned facility. Finger slowly tightens on the sensitive trigger. A mysterious clone awakens in a cold bath. Elite forces sweep the area to eliminate intruders. They clear the stairwell, securing the upper levels. A key suspect is finally apprehended under cover of night. A deal is about to go down. He cautiously approaches the designated, isolated meeting spot. Valuable contents are securely chained to him. The beer arrives, ready to make the exchange. They verify the merchandise before finalizing the trade. Carefully inspects the stacks of $100 bills. Satisfied with the cash, he smiles with greed. They return to base to plan their next heist. The crew regroups at their new warehouse hideout. But a rival syndicate quickly tracks their location. A shadowy hitman approaches through the thick fog. Meanwhile, their hacker infiltrates a corporate server building. He searches for targets on an old hit list. The assassin uses a speeding train to escape. She rushes down the stairs of the facility. Taking the elevator, she prepares for an ambush. She contemplates the dangerous mission ahead of her. The rising tension makes her cross her arms. Reaching the bottom, she sprints across the courtyard. She disappears into the city's dark underbelly alone. The hitman arrives at the designated shipping port. Heavy machinery moves the illicit cargo into position. Expectedly, the cops arrest their inside man elsewhere. Gets interrogated inside the cold prison cell. The officer locks him away without a deal. A female accomplice draws her weapon in response. She spots a sniper aiming down the stairwell. The target desperately flees down the dark steps. He vanishes into the shadows without a trace. Following the trail, an investigator opens a door. He searches the abandoned locker room for clues. The silent hall reveals nothing about the syndicate. A cartel boss confidently walks into a trap. He is suddenly held at gunpoint by rivals. Facing capture, a desperate associate contemplates his end. The city remains oblivious to war. A bloody knife is left at the scene. Heavily armed SWAT teams begin clearing the building. At the club, the accomplice prepares for battle. She confronts the gang leader and his thugs. A brutal fight erupts on the dance floor. She dodges a lethal strike with incredible agility. Then she racks her shotgun to end it. The hacker successfully breaches the enemy's secure mainframe. Security cameras capture her stealing the sensitive files. The data transfer triggers a massive system overload. The entire network suddenly goes completely dark today. Crew quickly escapes into a crowded street. They orchestrate a distraction by robbing a bank. Chaos ensues as the alarm finally goes off. They violently toss the stolen cash into vans. The vehicle speeds off, losing money along roads. They take rural back roads to lose the police. All incriminating evidence is burned in a barrel. They set their old hideout on fire completely. Firefighters bravely push through the burning building now. Crews spray water to contain the massive inferno. The flames threaten to consume the entire neighborhood. Aerial units coordinate the massive emergency response efforts. Smoke obscures the true cause of fire. The trail goes totally cold for pursuing detectives. The survivors relocate to a remote snowy wasteland. They drive through the frozen landscape in silence. One member decides to walk away from everything, but an assassin's sniper scope quickly finds him. The remaining crew escapes on a freight train. They seamlessly blend into the busy subway system. A heavy storm hits, washing away their tracks. The dark waters hide their next secret move. Pouring rain makes the search nearly impossible now. A lone smuggler navigates the treacherous sea alone. Massive sharks circle beneath his fragile small boat. He paddles faster to avoid a gruesome death. Finally, he reaches the safety of a vessel. He steers the old boat through the storm. They navigate carefully through the dark, turbulent waters. A massive naval destroyer blocks their planned route. The storm intensifies over the city's power grid. Suburban neighborhoods lose power in the heavy winds. The pursuit continues blindly through the torrential downpour. Wipers barely clear the heavy rain from windshields. A technician desperately tries to reboot the system. The mastermind watches the chaos from his monitors. The power outage plunges the district into darkness. The assassin waits patiently on the empty street. She knows the target has nowhere to run. The getaway van drives through a ruined zone. A strange figure suddenly blocks the foggy road. The city skyline seems to warp around them. The syndicate's war leaves the city in ruins. He watches his childhood home burn to ground. Everything he built is now reduced to ashes. He stands by the shore, planning his revenge. He takes a deep breath to steady nerves. A hidden cache of weapons is finally unlocked. She inspects the gear needed for the assault. A finger rests on the trigger, ready today. The target prepares himself in a cold bathtub. SWAT forces breach the door to his sanctuary. Heavily armed guards secure the dimly lit hallway, is violently apprehended in dark. Meanwhile, the money handler enters the parking garage. He walks quickly to secure the final deal. The valuable contents are securely chained to him. The beer arrives, ready to make the exchange. They open the case to verify the merchandise. He carefully inspects the stacks of $100 bills. Satisfied with the cash, he smiles with greed. The crew waits anxiously for the escape car. Suddenly, an armed man confronts them inside. A lone figure vanishes into the thick fog. He navigates the eerie shipping yard in silence. Another man hurries through a brightly lit walkway. Ancient wooden plaques hide a secret coded message. He boards a fast train to flee town. A mysterious woman begins tracking his every move. She patiently waits inside a moving glass elevator. Her cold stare reveals her deadly true intentions. The descent takes her closer to the target. She stalks quietly beneath a dark concrete overpass. Desolate city streets hide her silent approach. Heavy shipping containers stack up in the rain. A massive forklift moves illicit cargo at midnight. Meanwhile, an accomplice gets locked in a cell. The guard aggressively tightens her cold metal handcuffs. She realizes there is no chance of escape. An unseen assassin prepares a loaded handgun quickly. A skilled sniper aims down a smoky stairwell. He watches carefully for any sudden suspicious movement. Tension rises as the thick smoke slowly clears. Someone spies on the chaotic situation through cracks. A dark locker room provides a temporary hideout. Shadows conceal the looming threats lurking nearby. A scarred enforcer steps into the red light. A rival abruptly points a gun at him. Another large man plays a dangerous, deadly game. Bright city lights shine over the vast metropolis. Bloody knives are discarded on the cold floor. A tactical team aims their heavy assault rifles. A fierce rider secures her helmet for battle. She engages enemies inside a flashy neon club. Violent gang brawl erupts on the dance floor. She skillfully dodges a lethal weapon strike quickly. A defender firmly readies her heavy tactical shotgun. A masked hacker types furiously in the dark. Security cameras record her infiltrating the secure mainframe. Cosmic anomaly bends the fabric of reality. The void pulls them into an unknown dimension. Two women navigate a bustling neon city street. Terrified hostages cower during a brutal bank robbery. Looking through the blurred glass reveals pure panic. Armed robbers load bags into a waiting van. The getaway vehicle speeds off, scattering loose cash. They drive recklessly through the quiet rural roads. A metal barrel fire destroys all remaining evidence. A violent inferno consumes the abandoned building entirely. Firefighters push through the burning smoky hallway. They blast heavy water streams onto the blaze. The stubborn fire continues to rage out wildly. Aerial drones survey the chaotic night rescue operation. Emergency lights pierce through the thick dark smoke. A solitary car drives across a freezing highway. The snowy wasteland offers nowhere left to hide. He abandons the vehicle and walks into winter. He treks alone across the unforgiving icy road. An enemy sniper tracks him closely from afar. The scene shifts to a quiet industrial train yard. A subway train arrives at the underground station. Heavy rain aggressively batters the dark ocean surface. The stormy waters hide dangerous secrets far below. A tiny glowing lure sinks into the depths. The glowing bait attracts a terrifying underwater predator. A massive shark emerges silently from the gloom. The deadly creature patrols its cold, watery domain. Above water, a fisherman coils his heavy ropes. He nervously prepares his boat for rough seas. He steers the vessel through the raging storm. A colossal cargo ship docks under the fog. A military warship stands ready under the moonlight. Dark storm clouds gather ominously over the town. Windshield wipers struggle against the heavy pouring rain. The driver pushes blindly through the severe weather. Someone flips a critical switch on the panel. A lonely hacker monitors screens in a warehouse. He patiently waits for an incoming secret transmission. A mysterious figure stands at a barricaded road. The empty neon street echoes with grim warnings. An overgrown abandoned avenue leads to a dead end. The ruined city feels completely deserted and dead. A massive shockwave distorts the urban skyline totally. Absolute devastation leaves the district in smoking ruins. A man watches his house burn fiercely. He accepts his tragic fate amidst the flames. He stands before a dangerous, restricted military port. Gray patrol ships guard the cold, unforgiving waters. A tactical operative searches the dark locker room. She thoroughly checks every rusty cabinet for supplies. A finger tightens nervously on a deadly trigger. A pale figure rests motionless in a bathtub. He walks down a massive, echoing abandoned corridor. The tactical squad executes a swift door breach. They secure their dangerous, high-value target quickly. The criminal boss marches through a parking garage. He carries a highly secure metal briefcase confidently. The valuable case is heavily handcuffed to him. He finally meets his eager beer in secret. They carefully place the heavy case onto the car. The bear happily inspects the authentic $100 bill. The bear grins widely while verifying the cash. Meanwhile, an accomplice waits impatiently inside the car. Concludes inside the quiet, dusty warehouse. The tense, secret meeting finally comes to an end. The criminal boss leaves to secure the goods. He navigates through a modern, deserted glass walkway. He eventually reaches a hidden, traditional shrine area. A passing train signals the next phase. A female assassin descends a glowing glass staircase. She waits calmly inside the descending modern elevator. Her cold eyes reflect a deadly, focused determination. Mentally prepares for the upcoming violent confrontation. Out, she heads into the dark streets. She moves swiftly under a desolate concrete bridge. The target location is a desolate container yard. Stacks of metal crates hide her silent approach. Elsewhere, police successfully capture one of the gang. The suspect is tightly secured inside the cell. He realizes escape from the facility is impossible. Back at the yard, a lethal weapon appears. A hidden sniper aims carefully down the stairwell. The targeted man cautiously navigates the smoky steps. Every shadow could conceal a sudden, lethal trap. He forces open a heavy, rusted metal door. The path leads into an abandoned locker room. Dim overhead lights flicker ominously without any warning. Suddenly, an enemy ambushes him from the darkness. A loaded gun is pressed against his temple. In a shocking twist, another man shoots himself. This brutal chaos unfolds beneath the glowing cityscape. The cornered boss desperately grabs a nearby knife. Armed tactical units finally breach the compound walls. The female assassin removes her heavy motorcycle helmet. She confidently steps onto the neon-lit club floor. A massive brawl instantly erupts around the bar. She dodges vicious attacks with incredible martial agility. Then, she forcefully pumps a tactical shotgun. Watching remotely, a masked hacker tracks the violence. She monitors every movement through hacked security feeds. The timeline shifts drastically to the present day. New alliances form across this dark criminal universe. Undercover contacts stroll through a bustling market. Innocent bystanders panic during a sudden bank heist. A masked robber fiercely commands the terrified crowd. The crew rapidly loads the stolen cash bags. They speed away as loose bills scatter everywhere. The getaway van races down a rural highway. They burn the evidence inside a metal barrel. A massive fire consumes the gang's secret hideout. Brave firefighters rush into the blazing, smoky corridor. Tense inferno threatens to destroy everything left. They battle the fierce flames with powerful hoses. Emergency crews surround the devastated, smoldering rural property. The blaze leaves a trail of destruction. The criminal syndicate suffers a massive financial blow. A lone vehicle travels across a frozen wasteland. They navigate the icy, treacherous roads with caution. A figure walks alone through the bitter cold. A focused sniper tracks the target from afar. Heavy freight trains transport illicit cargo across borders. Subway train arrives at a busy station. A fierce storm batters the dark, open ocean. Heavy raindrops relentlessly pound the turbulent water surface. Ominous weather mirrors the rising criminal tension. Deep below, predators lurk in the murky depths. A massive shark glides through the underwater shadows. These silent killers rule the vast ocean realm. A lone sailor struggles on the tossing vessel. He hauls heavy ropes against the raging storm. The captain steers the ship through rough waters. A military warship patrols the dark, dangerous coastline. Illuminates the looming, skeletal power lines. Dense fog blankets the sleeping suburban neighborhood. A car drives blindly into the raging tempest. Torrential rain severely reduces the driver's forward visibility. Hastily activates a series of control switches. A figure sits alone in a cavernous facility. The master plan is finally set into motion. A lone survivor faces a desolate, ruined city. The empty streets reflect a tragic, forgotten past. An old van navigates the overgrown, abandoned avenue. Finally reaches the absolute end of civilization. The urban landscape twists into a surreal nightmare. Complete devastation surrounds the crumbling, war-torn city ruins, as helplessly as his safe house burns down. The intense flames consume all his remaining memories. He stares out at the distant naval fleet. A sudden moment of clarity pierces the chaos. The assassin searches the dark lockers for clues. Her flashlight beam cuts through the pitch black. A hidden marksman slowly squeezes the weapon's trigger. A mysterious figure rests in a grimy bathtub. Someone explores a massive, abandoned warehouse with light. Tactical squad carefully sweeps the tight hallway. Police successfully detain another key syndicate member tonight. Criminal boss confidently strides through the garage. He carries the secure briefcase toward the meeting. The valuable case remains handcuffed to his wrist. He finally meets the eager bear in secret. They carefully place the heavy case onto the car. He eagerly opens the case to inspect the payment. Satisfied with the cash, he quickly seals the deal. He swiftly gets into his waiting car to leave. But rival thugs ambush him outside the deserted warehouse. The scene abruptly fades as brutal violence suddenly erupts. A new danger brews across the glowing city. A rogue assassin silently prepares her blades for battle. A heavily armed SWAT team raids the local office. Another hitwoman gears up inside the neon-lit nightclub. Boss realizes he is completely surrounded by enemies. Barely dodges a lethal strike from an attacker. He desperately fights them off with a stolen sword. Elsewhere, a masked hacker infiltrates the main security grid. Morning soon breaks over the chaotic and busy streets. Time itself seems to warp around these unfolding events. Harsh present reality violently catches up to them. The trouble shifts to a crowded neon street abroad. Masked robbers suddenly storm a local establishment with guns. They hold the terrified innocent bystanders as hostages. Who breaches the vault to steal gold. They hurriedly throw the heavy loot into their van. A skull-masked accomplice keeps watch during the daring getaway. Escape van speeds down a quiet rural road. They burn all the incriminating evidence in a barrel. Brave responders rush into a blazing hallway to help. They struggle through thick smoke to find trapped survivors. The raging inferno completely consumes the targeted safe house. Fighters fight a losing battle against the massive flames. The entire hidden compound burns down to ashes tonight. A young woman ends up dead in a body bag. The syndicate's cleaner drives away into the snowy mountains. He speeds dangerously across the icy and desolate landscape. A white snowstorm hides his very dark deeds. He abandons his vehicle to walk the lonely road. A hidden sniper tracks his every move very carefully. The marked target eventually reaches an abandoned train yard. He quietly boards an arriving subway train to vanish. A fierce storm begins to batter the coastal waters. Relentless heavy rain hides the secrets beneath the surface. Something truly sinister lurks deep in the murky depths. The vast ocean remains cold, dark, and utterly unforgiving. There circles silently in the blue water. The shark glides peacefully past the sunken criminal evidence. A rogue smuggler hauls his ropes aboard a vessel. He firmly grips the steering wheel to navigate away. He pushes the throttle to escape the incoming storm. His tiny boat passes a massive anchored cargo ship. Dark storm clouds gather over the city's power grid. Heavy fog completely shrouds a lonely house in darkness. Brutal storm violently lashed against his car windshield. Someone flips the critical switches to initiate the protocol. A mastermind watches the chaos unfold from his screens. He monitors every single disaster he just set off. Lone survivor stands lost on a foggy road. The red warning lights flash through the eerie silence. He finally realizes there is nowhere left to run. Nature slowly reclaims an abandoned van in the ruins. Young child faces the literal end of things. The once great city now lies in apocalyptic ruins. Smoke rises from the devastated metropolis wasteland forever. Family watches his childhood home burn down. The hot flames erase his final connection to reality. He stands at the restricted pier looking for answers. He finally